evening and welcome to tonight's full council meeting. I'm going to start by quickly voting in a vice chair. There is someone next to me, but I'm not going to assume that he has been voted in. Does anybody want to put themselves forward to be vice chair?
Me? I nominate Councillor Gray.
I'll second that.
All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
18.
Councillor Gray.
Against.
Any abstentions?
Councillor Gray, you're not voting either way, I've noticed.
I'm abstaining.
Sort that out. Right, okay, to start with, we have apologies for absence. Do we have a list? Right.
Yep, so we have apologies from councillors Anne Weaving, Alex Berman, David Northam, Colin Buckle, Michael Frost and Christine James.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any declarations of interest? Okay, can we vote to approve all those apologies? All those in favour?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we didn't have a proposal seconder. Could we do that written question, please?
Proposer?
Councillor Gray, I think.
Seconder, councillor Tewkesbury.
Thank you.
Just in case anyone has an issue with somebody else. Okay. Any declarations of interest?
We've had none received, Chair. No dispensations have been sought for tonight's meeting.
Okay, minutes of last meeting. Has everybody looked them over? Okay, do we have a proposer? Councillor Weller, seconder? Okay. Councillor Rickman. Okay, can we have a vote of all those in favour?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Any against?
None, Chair.
Any abstentions?
1 Chair.
Right, okay, any councillor questions or statements? Councillor Nicholson?
Can I just thank, I think it's probably Councillor Wakeland, who now got the electric points installed, which is a great, great advantage, I think, for all members here. Thank you.
Well done. Well done, councillor.
I didn't do it myself. I think it was just back the facilities team for facilitating it, to be honest.
Okay, so we have no other questions or statements. The town mayor's announcements. If the town mayor isn't here, I'm going to leave that until the town mayor is here to be able to announce everything. I have attended a lovely dinner with the Luvia Society, which was an absolute pleasure. And hopefully they'll have more interactions with us in the future. On to Radipole Park and Gardens. Oh, public questions, sorry, I am ignoring the public. I would like to say a welcome to Rhys Davies, who is shadowing Ben at the moment, so welcome. We'll try not to kick you out later if we can allow you to stay. Okay, so any public questions?
We've had none notified, Chair, no.
Okay, so moving on to Radipole Park and Gardens, options to tax. Ben Heath will introduce his over. Or is he not? Ian will introduce his
I
over.
think that's me, Chair. I'm never quite sure whether I should be apologising for bringing a report on VAT because it does stretch my enthusiasm for all things finance, but as members will probably appreciate, VAT is incredibly complex and surrounding any decisions to opt for taxes and quite complex things which sit in the background. So I'll try and keep it nice and simple for now. Depending on what the use of the land is when you have construction projects, there is the risk that we wouldn't be able to recover all the VAT because of the way that the land transactions are classed by HMRC. So if we opt to tax on this land, it just protects the council and allows it to guarantee that it can reclaim all VAT. So it's quite a common practice to opt to tax on land. But all we're doing is trying, I think members have had the map, is just to opt to tax on the map, which is blue within the attachment. And we're just asking for members to agree that.
Would anybody like to speak on the,
Well, sure, probably.
okay, go on, councillor Wakeling?
My question is, if we opt to tax on it, can we in the future then opt out of tax?
The answer to that is no, not for 30 years. And the risk, or one of the risks is if there's any trading activity which we have on that land after it's we've opted to tax, then we have to, if any income has to have VAT charged into it. But in large construction projects, and we'll talk about that later in the confidential session, when you look at the sums concerned, 20% of a large sum, which we couldn't reclaim back, adds quite a lot to the project costs. And hence that's why we opt tax so that we can reclaim.
Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you. I'm just wondering what precedents this sets. Are there other parcels of land where we might need to do the same thing?
We have opted to tax on some land already for similar purposes, which was a part of the setup of the council. But we would normally opt to tax on any big projects where there's large amounts of money involved, because land transactions are normally exempt transactions. There's a calculation which sits in the back of that, and if we exceed a certain limit, then we will be unable to claim back the VAT because it's exempt. I'm trying to sort of make it as easy as possible, but there is quite a complex things behind it. But if we didn't opt to tax, the risk is that we'd have to pay back the VAT back to HMRC at a future date, depending on what the use of that land is for. So it just protects us really, but we can opt to tax on any land at any time.
Councillor Harris?
I've got a totally different question, and it's nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's, did we agree at the beginning of this meeting that we were online?
We are online, but it's not something that requires a formal agreement. So apologies.
Anybody else to speak on the Radipole Park and Gardens?
Can I propose that?
Oh, okay, we've got proposer Nicholson, and seconder councillor Hope. Okay, all those in favour?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, Chair?
Any against?
No, Chair?
Any abstentions?
1 abstention, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move on to the draft bench policy. And I think, is it Charmaine who's going to present on this? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As per the policy in front of you, the draft bench policy is being recommended to full council by the Services Committee. The policy has been drafted from officers from across the council, and the purpose of the policy is in line with our one council way of working. So we've got one policy that sits across the whole council, so includes green spaces and the resort team. As I said, it has been recommended by the Services Committee, and it has been one comment received prior to the meeting regarding the material of benches used. The material of benches used, it depends on where the bench is located. For example, if we're looking at installing additional benches within Greenhill Gardens, for example, a lot of those are wooden, so we'd install a wooden bench to be in keeping. Or if we were installing it in an alternative location, that's a different material, we'd make sure that material fits with that surrounding area. Any questions?
Councillor Hope?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy as the Chair of Services to endorse this policy. The committee discussed it at some length. And I'm also pleased to say that as well as the paper applications, we've been assured that the application form will also be on the website as a web-based application, meaning it's accessible for all, both internet users and those with paper. So I'm happy to endorse this policy and hope that council vote in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Gray?
Charmaine, can you just
I think I read something in the paper about, we've got a waiting list, can you just explain that to the rest of the council?
So we've got a waiting list across the council for a number of different locations, predominantly our most popular sites, as you can imagine, are the seafront and the Nove. So we do have a waiting list and there is demand there for memorialised benches throughout the town.
Councillor Legg.
Thank you very much. I'm just inquiring here that the council will be responsible for maintenance and what have you. What happens if somebody else offers to take over maintenance of a bench?
Sorry.
As per the policy, as the council would own the bench, we would be responsible for maintenance.
Yes, that's
We
what I
can
said.
and it's just to ensure for insurance purposes, you know, if anyone was injured or hurt, then at least we have covered ourselves and we are protected that way. So, and also it's a consistency, so if we repair a bench a certain way in one area, you know, we're doing them all the same.
But what happens if a local community group say that bench we would like to look after ourselves and restore it? Maybe this is I've got somebody who wants to do that, and I've actually registered that with this council, but obviously it's not been mentioned so far. In that way, and they want to restore it to its historic condition as an antique, if you like, more or less. And they asked me, and I put in a request for this probably 2 years ago. And we've been waiting for the benches to transfer from Dorset Council to Weymouth and got held up because of something going on by the harbour side. And that affected that way, I'm not quite sure, but it delayed it. And I just want to make sure that I'm not now going to turn around to them and say, sorry, you can't have it because we don't have that in our policy. And I can't see it mentioned in here, that. But an old bench that they want to restore because they want to make it more natural for the environment.
Shelley?
I think on a case by case basis, if there was historic benches across the town that could be restored by the local community, it's certainly something we could look to work in partnership with them on and with.
Can I formally request it looks back through some of the emails over many years and check out what the Upway Society wanting to take over and maintain, replace probably because it's in terrible condition, the bench by the bus stop at the top of Elwell Street.
We can definitely do, well, they say they can do that. Can I just check, Councillor Harris, are you coming back on what Councillor Legg said?
Yeah, I am, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I support what councillor Legg is saying, because I've got two people who want to rebuild the benches in the South Hill Garden shops. So, you know, why should we not take up those offers where people are perfectly capable of building and then looking after such things themselves and save us money?
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Watley.
Yeah, it's just a question on the benches along the esplanade. 2 or 3 of them now got so many flowers, placards and bits and pieces that you can't sit on them. So it says here we do it within 2 weeks after the thing, so could we simply check on that? Because it's I mean, not that you want to sit on them in the rain, but you know, there are quite a few of them.
Introducing policy, it would allow us to do that, because at the moment there is inconsistencies of what we would do for tributes on the seafront and in our parks and gardens. So if we have this policy, it would then allow us to remove tributes that we've mentioned.
Thank you.
Councillor Ferrari?
Thank you. I can't see what the problem with doing that would be. There are lots of services that the council provides that we don't contract them third parties of one sort or another. It just strikes me as the same sort of transaction we want to do with local residents and bench. Thank you.
Councillor Weller?
Thank you. It's just on exactly the same point, but very, very quickly. We were told that couldn't happen at the beginning of this council. A new councillor now no longer on the council actually had a bench removed, or it was removed because it was badly in need of repair. the son-in-law of the person who was dedicated was more than willing to rebuild it. And the Parks Department told him that that couldn't be done, so there is no longer a bench there, it's no longer dedicated to a very long-standing and highly regarded member of the community, and it's really rather a shame. So I think there are anomalies there that we just need to sort out. That bench isn't there anymore, so it can't be repaired, but it's greatly missed by the community.
Thank you, councillor Weller. Councillor Nicholson?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Can I just be clear? I think the policy mentions about benches being there for 10 years, is it? What about the benches that are already there? Because my parents have had a bench out there since 1989, and in the time when the council I paid to have it replaced because it was in a bad state. Is there any time limit on those benches?
Not at the moment, no. So officers will be working with or contacting as many members of the public who have got benches as they can possibly. And we will be reviewing them because there are some that have been there a number of years and we don't have contact details. Of course, we are going to be contacting people, but it doesn't affect existing agreements that are in place.
So how long is the waiting list for memorial benches? Because I'm getting on a bit, so I'm just
We do your discount.
Oh, thank you. No, I just wondered, because actually there are, on the note, there are places where benches could be. But if there's a waiting list, I just wonder why they haven't been filled. There's a waiting list.
So where the spaces that you're mentioning, it's something that we're looking at reviewing, and it's something that I'd like to work with board councillors on, is to identify places in your areas. Councillor Dickinson's mentioned some to me as also. So if you do have any locations that you have in your wards that you feel could benefit from additional benches, then please do let myself or other officers know.
Councillor Hope?
Thank you very much. I think just on that point, this policy outlines the way to request new benches in those locations, which is the importance to have a policy in this place. But in the aim of trying to move this debate on to motion, I'm just wondering to sort of settle some concerns by members this evening around working with community groups and organisations, whether within the policy on page 6, the statement for maintenance, and whether we can have a statement in there that the council will work with local community groups or members to restore or maintain benches where appropriate. How work will need to be signed off by the council to ensure they're kept to a safe standard.
Are you proposing that?
I'll be proposing that as an amendment.
Do we have a seconder? I'm going to go councillor Taylor. All those in favour?
Sorry, hang on a question. Well, which section, that's under memorialised benches, but doesn't apply to everything, and I think it should apply to everything.
It's under maintenance.
Yeah, but the maintenance is under memorialised benches, there is a maintenance. So I'm wondering what is amending, because if that's the one, that doesn't refer to, for example, highway benches.
Councillor Legg, on page 6, there's a general statement on maintenance, which covers the definition of maintenance throughout the whole policy, my understanding.
So we paid it this time.
Councillor Hope, I'm just working on the wording up there so all members are clear what they're being asked to vote on. So the council will work with local groups to restore benches and the council will
Work with local community groups and residents where appropriate, obviously.
Highways.
And the town will need to sign them off.
However, works will need to be signed off by the town council to ensure they're maintained to a safe standard.
I don't know what page 6 is.
Yeah.
I think we probably need to go into this.
No.
Because that's what I
Just be copy and paste and use a bit of a highlight.
Okay, are we wanting to discuss the actual amendment, or are we actually looking to vote now?
Thank you, David. How we started on this on page 3 as well. There's a statement once installed basic maintenance of benches. We can have the same statement in there as well.
Councillor Todd?
Another matter, not.
Okay, another matter, councillor Dickinson, are you on this matter or a different one?
I think it might be slightly different, so if you want to go with the
Okay, let's go with the amendment, I'm going to vote on the amendment. Oh, Nicholson?
It says about restoring it, do we not need to be slightly more specific, because we can restore it to be anything, I mean, we have a sort of standardised bench, but are we clear about what bench should be?
I think that has to be approved by full council,
That's the safeguard.
that's the
Has to be
safeguard.
Because there are so many different standards, obviously depending on where the bench is.
Okay, let's go to vote. All those in favour?
Hang on a minute, you have to have somebody propose
We've
it.
already had proposal, councillor, you accepted,
Oh,
councillor.
it's just for the amendment.
Yeah, all those in favour?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
All those against?
None.
Any abstentions?
1 chair.
Okay, back to the substantive. Okay, councillor Dickinson.
I just want to know is, are we responsible for benches that are not on council land, on Weymouth Town Council land? Is it the highways? Would they be getting involved if we ask to repair any benches that are not on Weymouth Town Council land?
As Dorset Council have transferred the benches across the Weymouth Town Council, if we were restoring them to their original state or what the original design was, I don't see it would be a problem. We should be able to do that with the other councils.
Okay, councillor Gray.
When they transferred ownership, the only thing they didn't transfer is permission to work on highway. So if it is a bench that is on DC land, we are responsible for maintaining it, but we need to get permissions from highways to do any work on it. And they've also paid us to do that.
Yeah. That's with the listening bench, wasn't it?
Yes, so if there are any benches, just to be clear, if there are any benches that are on DC land in Weymouth, we are responsible for maintaining them. That was what the agreement said. But there are occasions where we'll need licensing or highways, community highways to come along and advise us what we can and can't do with the foundations, those sorts of things.
Councillor Toft.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I ask, have these all been now catalogued and listed, all the benches that are in the whole town, and plotted on a map so that we can then look which benches are supposed to be in our ward, and if there are any benches that aren't on the map, we can notify your friends?
So yeah, so through Newton Parish Online, which is the council's mapping system, all benches have been mapped. Yeah.
Anybody else to speak on that?
No.
Okay, let's go to vote. Do we have a proposer? Councillor Hay. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Tewkesbury. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Now on to item number 10, which is the Armed Forces Covenant update from Councillor James. She's not here tonight. So I want to check if there is anything.
We don't have any, I'm afraid, so what we'll do is we'll add that to the next agenda.
On to the next agenda. Actions from previous meeting. I'm assuming everybody's been through all the Weymouth Town Council board plan. Is there anything to feedback? Okay, so if everybody's okay with what we're just noting, aren't we? So if everybody's okay, we're going to now move on to exclusion of the press and public. Yeah, okay, we have proposed of Councillor Gray. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Weller. All those in favour?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Any against?
1.
Any abstentions?
None, Chair.
Okay,